Most people spend their entire lives waiting for a stroke of luck. But the truly successful realize that luck is actually something you must architect for yourself. Welcome back to the show. I am so glad you're here with me today because we are about to embark on a journey that I honestly believe, and I don't use this phrase lightly, is going to fundamentally rewire the way you perceive your own life. We're going to talk about that elusive, mystical force that we all crave, that we all envy, and that we often feel abandoned by. We are going to talk about luck. Now, I want you to pause for a second. Think about the last time you saw someone truly successful. Maybe it was a friend who launched a startup that went unicorn. Maybe it was a colleague who got that promotion you were gunning for. Or maybe it's just someone who seems to have a perfect family life. What is the first whisper that creeps into the back of your mind? Be honest. It's usually something like, "Man, they got lucky." Or, "Must be nice to be in the right place at the right time." We are culturally programmed to view luck as a lightning strike, random, chaotic, and completely out of our control. But what if I told you that definition is the single biggest barrier to your own success? What if luck isn't an accident? What if luck is actually a structure? An architecture that you build brick by brick? Today, we are deep diving into a book that has swept the globe, selling millions of copies, translated into over 35 languages. It's a phenomenon called Good Luck, or in the Vietnamese edition, Be Mat Qua May Man, by Alex Rovira and Fernando Trías de Bes. This isn't just a self-help book, it's a philosophical treatise wrapped inside a fable. It's so potent that major corporations like Samsung have sponsored it because they understand that the principles inside aren't just about magic. They're about market dominance and personal mastery. The book opens in a setting that feels cinematic in its simplicity. We are in Central Park, New York. It's a spring afternoon. We see two men sitting on a bench. They are both in their 60s, and they were childhood best friends, but they haven't seen each other in 50 years. The authors paint this vivid, heartbreaking contrast between them. On one side you have Max. Max is radiant. He's successful, he has a youthful spirit, he's a renowned businessman. He exudes this energy of a life well lived. On the other side you have Jim. Jim is exhausted. He looks defeated. His clothes are worn, his posture is slumped. Here is the kicker: Jim was born rich. Max was born poor. This is where we have to stop and really look at the anatomy of failure. Jim recounts his life story, and it is a terrifying cautionary tale about what the authors call chance luck. See, when Jim was 10 years old, his family inherited a massive fortune and a thriving textile factory. They didn't earn it, it fell into their laps. They moved away, they cut ties with their past, and Jim eventually took over the factory. But listen to his mindset. He believed that because his family had money, and because the factory was already successful, he didn't need to change anything. He thought, "We are the best. Why fix what isn't broken?" But the world changed. Competitors came in with cheaper products, better fashion, more innovation. And Jim? He stood still. He refused to adapt. He paralyzed himself with arrogance. The factory collapsed. He tried to pivot too late, ran out of capital, and lost everything. He lost his home, his family, his dignity. For the last 15 years, this man who was born into millions has been living on odd jobs and the charity of neighbors. And what is his explanation? What does he tell Max on that park bench? He says, "I had bad luck." He looks at Max and says, "You, my friend, you were favored by fate." This is the trap. This is the victim mentality that the book tries to shatter. Jim believes luck is a zero-sum game. If you have it, I don't. If I lose it, the gods took it away. Max, however, tells a different story. Max started with nothing. He was a car washer, a bellhop, a security guard. He scraped together pennies. But Max didn't just work, he observed. When he was a bellhop, he didn't just carry bags, he listened to what the wealthy guests complained about. He studied their desires. He saved every dime for 10 years and bought a failing leather workshop. He didn't wait for customers to walk in, he went out. He traveled. He innovated. Now, he owns 20 factories and employs 2,000 people. Max looks at Jim and lays down the core thesis of this entire book. He says, Jim, you had chance luck. Chance luck is like winning the lottery. It happens to you. It's independent of you. And because you didn't build the vessel to hold it, it leaked out. Max explains that true luck, what he calls good luck, is different. True luck is created. It belongs to you because you built the conditions for it to exist. He drops a statistic that hits hard. 90% of lottery winners are back to their original financial state, or worse, within 10 years. Why? Because the money was an external event, not an internal growth. You cannot harvest a crop you didn't plant. Jim's tragedy wasn't that he was unlucky, it was that he was unprepared. To explain this to his heartbroken friend, Max starts to tell a story. A story within a story. A legend his grandfather told him. And this is where the book shifts from a conversation in Central Park to a fable about the nature of opportunity itself. The legend takes us to a mythical kingdom ruled by the wizard Merlin. Merlin gathers all the knights of the realm, the bravest, strongest warriors, and he issues a challenge. He says, I have good news. In 7 days, a magic 4-leaf clover will grow. This clover grants the owner eternal luck. Limitless success in war, business, love, everything. The knights go wild. Everyone wants this. It's the ultimate shortcut. But then Merlin drops the other shoe. He says, this clover will grow somewhere in the enchanted forest, beyond the valley of forgetfulness. Now, the mood in the room shifts. The enchanted forest is massive. It is millions of acres of dense, dark woods. Finding a tiny clover in a forest that size isn't just hard, it's statistically impossible. It's worse than a needle in a haystack. Upon hearing the difficulty, almost all the knights, the heroes of the realm, quit. They walk away. They say, Merlin, you're crazy. This is a fool's errand. This is the second secret of luck. Everyone wants it, but almost no one is willing to pursue it if the outcome isn't guaranteed. We want the Amazon Prime delivery of success. We don't want the trek through the woods. Only 2 knights accept the challenge. We have Not, the knight in black armor, and Sid, the knight in white armor. These 2 characters represent the 2 warring halves of the human psyche. Not is the cynic, the realist, the one who wants to find success. Sid is the optimist, the visionary, the one who wants to create success. They ride for 2 days. They arrive at the forest. They have 5 days left to find the clover. And this is where we see the divergence in their methodology, which perfectly mirrors why some people stagnate and others soar. Let's look at Not first. The knight in black armor. Not rides into the forest and thinks, I need to find someone who knows where the luck is. He treats luck like a hidden treasure chest. He finds the gnome, the prince of the earth, the being who lives underground and knows every root system in the forest. Not demands, tell me where the magic clover is growing. The gnome looks at him and says, you're wasting your time. A 4-leaf clover has never grown in this forest. The soil is wrong. It's impossible. Now, put yourself in Not's shoes. You've ridden for 2 days. You've taken on a challenge everyone else quit. And the expert, the data analyst, the market insider, tells you, it's not happening. What does Not do? He gets angry. He feels cheated. He thinks Merlin lied to him. He thinks, maybe the other knight found it already. He sinks into paranoia and despair. But, and this is crucial, he stays in the forest. He stays, but he does nothing. He just wanders, hoping the gnome is wrong, hoping luck will just magically appear despite the data. Now let's look at Sid. The knight in white armor. Sid also finds the gnome. Sid also asks, Where is the clover? And the gnome gives him the exact same bad news. It has never grown here. It's impossible. But Sid asks one follow-up question that changes everything. He asks, why? Why hasn't it grown? The gnome explains, well, the soil here is rocky and hard. Clovers need fresh, aerated, nutrient-rich soil. This is an old forest. The ground is dead. Sid has a realization. He realizes that the clover isn't a thing to be found, it's a biological result of specific conditions. If the clover hasn't grown, it's because the conditions aren't right. So, what does he do? He doesn't keep searching. He stops searching. He goes to a small patch of land. He rides to a different valley, finds fertile soil, manure from the 12-footed dwarf cows, a lovely detail, and he brings it back. He clears the weeds. He tills the earth. He replaces the old, dead dirt with new, rich soil. Sid spends his entire day doing manual labor. He ignores the vastness of the forest and focuses on creating a tiny, perfect microcosm where luck could exist. This brings us to the core argument of the first few days of their journey. You cannot have new results with old behaviors. Nod is looking for luck in the existing environment. Sid realizes the environment itself must be changed. This is the difference between the person who sends out 500 resumes to the same type of job, and gets rejected, versus the person who learns a new skill, revamps their portfolio, and networks with new people. Sid is terraforming his reality. But soil alone isn't enough. And this brings us to the next phase of the story, which covers the concept of altruism and the flow of resources. It's the next day. Sid wakes up and looks at his patch of fresh soil. It looks great. But he thinks, is this enough? He runs the simulation in his head. Soil is good, but biology needs water. Meanwhile, Nod is spiraling. He's depressed. He wanders deeper into the forest and encounters the Lady of the Lake. This is a beautiful, mystical being made of water. But she's crying. She's distressed. Her voice sounds like gargling water. She explains that her lake is stagnant. The water lilies are crowding the surface. They need to sleep during the day to sing at night, but they can't. It's a whole ecosystem problem. The water is evaporating, the lake is dying. Not true to his character, interrupts her. He says, look, I don't care about your lilies. I don't care about your lake. Just tell me, does the magic clover grow here? The Lady of the Lake laughs at him. A bitter, watery laugh. She says, you fool. Clovers need a stream. They need constant, fresh, running water. My water is stagnant. Nothing grows here but slime. Nod hears this, and again he hears, no. He hears, impossible. He thinks, great, no soil, no water. I knew this was a scam. He ignores the lady's pain, ignores the information, and rides off to sulk. He is operating from a place of scarcity. He thinks that helping her is a distraction from his goal. Then comes Sid. Sid approaches the lake. He sees the lady crying. He stops. He doesn't ask about the clover immediately. He asks, what is wrong? He listens to her problem about the stagnant water and the suffocating lilies. And suddenly, the light bulb goes off. Sid realizes that her problem is the solution to his problem. She has too much water, he has none. She needs flow, he needs irrigation. So, Sid takes out his sword. He doesn't use it to fight a dragon. He uses it as a shovel. He digs a trench from the lake to his little patch of soil. He works all day, sweating, digging through roots and rocks. By sunset, he opens the dam. The water flows out of the lake, creating a fresh, babbling brook that runs right past his plot of land. The Lady of the Lake is overjoyed. Her lilies can breathe. The stagnation is gone. She blesses him. And Sid? Sid now has fresh soil and fresh water. This is the fourth secret of luck. Helping others brings luck. But not in a karma will get you eventually vague sort of way. It's practical. It's structural. By solving the lady's bottleneck, Sid unlocked the resources he needed. In business, this is the definition of value creation. If you focus only on, where is my money? Where is my promotion? Like not, you repel people. If you focus on, how can I solve this person's stress? How can I make this system flow better? Like Sid, you invariably create the infrastructure for your own success. Not sees people as obstacles or dispensers of information. Sid sees them as part of an ecosystem that he can harmonize with. But the journey isn't over. We have soil. We have water. But there is another element missing. And this is where the story confronts the enemy of all progress, procrastination. The next day, Nod is getting desperate. He decides to go to the highest authority in the forest, the Queen of Trees, Sequoia. She is 2,000 years old. She has seen everything. Nod rides to her and demands an audience. He asks the same tired question. Has a four-leaf clover ever grown here? The sequoia rustles her ancient leaves. She searches her memory banks going back 2 millennia. And she says, no. Never. Not once in 2,000 years. For Nod, this is the final nail in the coffin. The history books say no. The experts say no. The data says no. He feels justified in his cynicism. He feels almost relieved that he can go back to Merlin and say, see? I told you it was a lie. He is seeking validation for his failure rather than a path to success. Sid also visits the sequoia. He receives the same answer. It has never happened. But by now you know Sid's mindset. He doesn't care about what has happened. He cares about what can happen. He looks at his patch of land. He has the soil. He has the water. But he realizes something crucial. The forest is dark. The canopy is so thick that no sunlight reaches the ground. Even with the best soil and the best water, a plant cannot photosynthesize in the dark. He asks the sequoia for permission. May I prune some of your dead branches? May I clear the canopy just above my patch? The sequoia agrees, perhaps happy to be rid of the dead weight. So Sid climbs. He cuts. He clears. And for the first time in centuries, a shaft of pure, golden sunlight pierces the gloom of the enchanted forest and hits his little plot of land. Now pause here. Think about what Sid has done. He hasn't found the clover yet. He hasn't seen a single green sprout. But he has systematically deconstructed the word. Impossible. Impossible was just a lack of soil. He fixed it. Impossible was a lack of water. He fixed it. Impossible was a lack of light. He fixed it. This brings us to the concept of preparation versus procrastination. Nod is waiting for the clover to show itself before he commits. He wants the guarantee before the work. Sid commits to the work to allow the clover to show itself. The summary of this third chunk of the book leaves us right here, on the precipice. We have 2 knights. One is miserable, validated in his belief that the world is unfair and that luck is a scam. The other is exhausted, covered in dirt and sweat, but sleeping soundly next to a patch of mud that he has loved into existence. Why does this matter to you? Why are we talking about knights and wizards? Because right now, in your life, you are standing in your own version of the enchanted forest. Maybe it's a career you want to transition into. Maybe it's a relationship you want to find. Maybe it's a health goal. And there is a voice in your head, the not voice, that is looking for the lucky break. It's looking for the easy win. It's asking, has anyone else done this? Is it guaranteed? And when the answer is, it's hard, that voice wants to quit. That voice wants to blame the economy, blame your upbringing, blame your boss. That voice says, I'm just not lucky. But this book challenges you to adopt the Sid mindset. To stop looking for luck and start building the conditions for it. To ask yourself, do I have the soil? Am I learning the right things? Do I have the water? Am I helping others and creating flow? Do I have the light? Am I clearing away the dead wood and the distractions to let opportunity in? The brilliance of good luck is that it reclaims agency. It tells you that Jim didn't lose his fortune because of bad luck, he lost it because he stopped being a gardener of his own assets. It tells you that Max didn't get rich by magic, he got rich because he was constantly tilling the soil of his career, waiting for the seed to drop. As we wrap up this deep dive into the first half of this incredible book, I want you to look at your own patch of land. Is it ready? If the luck you are waiting for fell from the sky today, would it land on fertile ground, or would it wither on the rocks of your unpreparedness? Luck isn't something you find. Luck is where preparation meets opportunity. And as Sid is proving, you can't control when the opportunity arrives. That's the Merlin part. But you can control the preparation. You can control the soil, the water, and the light. We're going to leave our nights there for now. Sid is sleeping, dreaming of a clover that hasn't appeared yet. Nod is stewing in his anger. There are only a few days left in Merlin's challenge. Will the clover grow? And if it does, will it grow for the man who searched for it, or the man who built a home for it? I think you know the answer, but the conclusion of the story holds even more secrets about trust, faith, and the ultimate nature of the universe that we will explore next time. Until then, don't just look for luck. Go out there and create it. Grab a shovel. Dig the trench. Prune the branches. Build your luck. Thanks for listening.